We're back working on this pitch to Midi device, having quite a lot of fun with it. It's kind of working. So we've introduced the snapshot, which is continuously taking values from the detected frequency at a time in milliseconds. So this is our first sort of parameter that smooths things out, I guess. It kind of works. And then we've got this group here, which kind of takes a running median, I guess, or running average. So we can specify groups of data coming in, and then it takes the median rather than just spits out the frequencies. And that kind of works quite well. There's a little bit of a delay, but I don't think it's going to matter because, remember, the purpose of this is to control some sort of device in Ableton that has a MIDI input. And then we've got this area here which allows us to define the minimum and the maximum note. So that's handy for cutting out stuff we don't need, but I want to take this a bit further today, and I want to experiment a bit with scales. So I want to be able to specify the notes that are allowed to come through, which should get rid of a lot of artifacts, hopefully. Again, this is all just experimental stuff. I'm just going to start throwing new ideas at this to see how I can get more accurate notes and then eventually just choose the ones that stick. So how am I going to do this? I need to create a list of MIDI notes. In fact, I'm going to put this down here just so we've got some space to work. I need to create a list of MIDI notes, and then I need to be able to tell, the notes coming out of here need to be matched against that list, and if they are in that list, they are let through, and if they're not in that list, then they're not let through. So let's just start with a basic if statement. So we're going to say if the first input, which is $I1, because we're working with integers here, if the first input is equal to $I2, so that'll be the second input where we populate the list, then output $I1. So just typing that will output the left inlet if it matches to something in the right inlet. I can also almost see a problem here. I'm just going to put an else statement. Okay, so let's generate a pseudo list of MIDI notes. Let's just go 10, 12, 13, 14, 16, and 18. Okay, so I'm going to have to iterate this through. So we'll use a ZL iter. So what that's going to do, if I connect this to a print object, just put iter. Let's just open up my console here. So if I click this, I need to put a value here. So what it's going to do is each new item in this list, it's going to output its own individual value. So you can see here we've got all of our 5 values. If I got rid of this, you see it's just going to output everything as a message or a string. So let's get that iter back in there. So that's good. So that's going to allow us to iterate through each one of those. And then each iteration that comes out, I'm going to have to trigger something and let through the number. So I'm going to send a bang and a I. So we'll connect this to here. So what's going to happen is it's going to send out these individual numbers out this right outlet. So we'll send it in here. And then we need this to bang the note that's coming in to match. So let's just put in some pseudo notes here. We'll go 10, 11, 12. I need to do these as individual messages. I can already see a flaw here, which is going to hold me back, but I'm going to build this anyway, just because it's good for the brain. So this is going to trigger another TBL. And we'll just put this in here. So you can think of these as the MIDI notes that are coming out of here. So these are the final notes that come out. So the list needs to populate this message box. So we put that into the right inlet. Then we're going to bang this list and go through the iteration process. It's going to iterate each individual value into the right inlet, it's also going to send a bang, and we'll use that to trigger this one, and then this goes into this inlet. So each time I click on this, it's going to populate it's going to test it against all of these 5, I think. Let's connect an integer to the outlet of this if statement, and it should. Okay, so we've got 10, 10's in the list, so it's output 10. 11. Haha, it did not output 11. 12. It output 12. Okay, so that actually works, so that's fantastic. Let's just do a 13 in case. So 13 doesn't work, 12 does. This is good, but this kind of locks us out of being able to say, no, there's no value in the list. So for example, if I did else -1, that means if it's not in the list, it's going to output -1. But the problem is, when I click on 10, it does match 10, but it's also going to try all of these ones here, including 18. So it's kind of going to override the original match, and we're just going to get a -1 for each one of these. So that's not ideal, because I do want to be able to have an accurate statement that says, no, this note is not included. So let's just put that to the side. We'll borrow this list here and this. Learning. We'll put this over here. So I'm going to try using a bag object. So this stores a collection of numbers, as it says. Let's open up the help file. Add a number by following it with a non-zero integer. Remove a number by following it with a 0. And we can output all the items, and we can clear the contents. So that's all good. So what we need to do here is we need to create another message box with an input and 1. So if I connect these to this message box and put it into here, you'll see that this will add the numbers to the bag. So the bang needs an integer followed by a 1 in order to add it. So let's test that out. And let's also just do the removal. Excuse me, I'm still on the tail end of my illness, but I'm feeling good. So we need to duplicate these. Bring this across here. Let's feed these into here. So this is to remove the stuff from the bag. So let's just test this works. Let's put a print bag here. So I'm just going to add all of these numbers. We'll need to send the bag a bang. And you'll see the bag has output all of the results, 3, 12, 11, and 10. Seems to be in the reverse order that I added them, but that's not going to be an issue. So let's try removing 11, and let's try removing 13. Okay, there we go. So the bag contains the numbers that we have added. So what we could probably do here is we could probably steal this list with the ZL iteration. Actually, no, we don't need to do that, because I want to be able to use a keyboard to add these to the list. So let's just figure that part out now. So we'll put in a key slider. We only need to have 1 octave here. So let's go 12. And obviously we're going to need to include all the octaves below and above the range which this keyboard specifies. But we'll come to that a bit later. Let's just get 1 octave happening here. So I'm going to make this polyphonic. And that allows us to select various notes. Let's just change the color. I'm not so keen on the gray. Let's go for the nice Ableton blue. Okay. So let's remove that. The key slider outputs the key value and the velocity. So if I put this into a pack, this packs 2 numbers together as it stands, or multiple numbers. So if I pack this up and feed this into a message box, let's see what we get. 46 and 38. So it seems like the velocity is sort of randomized here. So that's all good. I wonder if we can change the default velocity. Low MIDI key offset. I don't think we can, but what we can do is we can just put a select, and if it's 0, we output 0. So if it's 0 velocity, that's absolutely fine. We can just send that straight through. However, if it's anything other than 0, we want to just simply output a 1. So we'll trigger a message box with a 1. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, we're not getting a 0. Let's see if we get a 0 here. Doesn't seem to be re-triggering. Maybe if I change this to a pack. So a pack will output a list when anything changes. Is this triggering? What outputs are we getting here? So we'll run into an issue here. So we're getting 55 and 0. Oh, this is sending a bang. Okay, so that's my issue there. Okay, so this is not actually sending out 0. It's not routing it through. It's actually sending a bang. So we actually need to send that bang to this 0 here. Okay, that should work now. Okay, so that should be enough to add notes to our bag. So we don't even need this. We don't even need this. This is quite nice and tidy, I think. First of all, let's clear the bag. Let's also give the bag a bang. Stupid. Okay. So we'll clear the bag. Let's go this, this, and this. C major. I'm just going to assume that this is a C major. Is it a C major? This doesn't really look like a C major to me. 36, 40, so it's 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Oh yeah, 41, 42, 43, okay. And if we were to remove one of these notes and bang it. Okay, this is good, this is good. So this is our way of at least defining the list of notes that are allowed to be passed through. So in the next video, I'm going to start thinking about how do I tackle calling an incoming note against this bag, matching against this list, and letting it through. And we'll also need to deal with the octaves, which shouldn't be too hard. It should just be a matter of multiplication. I'll see you in the next video.